It's your boy Dwayne on Blaze. This video is by True Crime Julia, and this is the story of the Gcaba Brothers and the 800,000 Rand alleged hit on AKA. Damn, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go.
On February 11, 2023, at around 2 p.m., a large sum of money, over 800,000 Rand, was deposited into the bank account of businessman Mzwethemba Gwabeni. And within hours, the money was split among a group of people, each getting 133,000 Rand. And then different people did different things with their share of the money.
Of course, he's buying colognes already. Colognes and shampoos and oils.
And then in 2024, the money was long finished. And then the people who got a share of that money were arrested. But here's the question. What was the money for? The men who got this money, they are alleged inkabi. So what business did they do that cost 800,000 Rand? The police have an idea. They say the money was payment for the alleged hit on multi-award-winning rapper AKA. But who would pay that much money to kill a popular rapper? What did he even do to this person? And why was the money paid by one of the Gcaba brothers? Who are they? And why would they even want AKA dead? This is the story of the notorious KwaZulu-Natal siblings known as the Gcaba brothers, or Abafana bakwaGcaba.
The AKA and Tibbs murder case. And whilst we're on the topic of going after big fish, the Gcaba family name has been mentioned in this case. This was in court. I want to ask you a straightforward question, and that is, do you believe that Mfundo Gcaba is the paymaster who contracted the alleged killers?
Before he answers, where is Becky Cele at, bro? Like, bro, look at the views in the back. Look at the backdrop. Bro's got the green screen backdrop.
Well, again, police don't just sleep and dream who to pick up tomorrow morning. They do their work, they investigate, and they follow the pointers. It's another very interesting case. You remember we've been under pressure even from yourself. Whenever I spoke to you, you'd ask the question. And people are just wondering that we had first clue in February, no, in March.
Why is he smiling so much, bro? Like, this is just such a joyous situation right here. What are you smiling for?
When AK was murdered in February. So we have been, but again, it was this approach of dealing with the structure rather than dealing with the individual. A first person was arrested on the 22nd, and we have kept quiet under a lot of pressure and all that. So we'll wait for the investigation. For now, police to put the name of Mfundo Gcaba on the papers and on the affidavit, which means something that they've found something there.
Welcome to True Crime with me, Julia. On this channel, we look into true crime cases that have happened in South Africa. Today's story comes just a few days after a court sitting in KwaZulu-Natal dropped the name of the Gcaba brothers once again. We have done a couple of stories on AKA already. Please catch up on those so that we're not leaving you behind with this particular story.
I just want to say, how long does it take in South Africa for them to do the research and to do whatever they need to do to solve the case, bro? Because it takes so long, bro. It takes centuries, years and years and years. Now we're still solving the case, we're still sorting this out, we're still waiting for that, we're doing the investigation, and it's like, bro, it's taking forever, man. We need to like incorporate AI or something into the police system or to speed up the process, because this is just too much, bro. It's too slow.
We have also covered the story of the Ndimande brothers about 4 times already. The latest episode being the one that we did on Thursday. So please also check that one out. So the Gcaba brothers' name has been mentioned many times in the media, and recently during AKA's murder case court appearances. Please note that this story is based on allegations. We have relied on news reports, various radio interviews, media statements by the Gcaba family, and podcasts, and a lot of social media accounts for this report. And as such, everything mentioned in this report is based on allegations. It is very important to also note that none of the Gcaba brothers have been arrested in connection with AKA and his friend Tibbs Motsueni's murder. And
yeah, clearly they got money, huh? Of course they're not going to get arrested.
No ways is this report implying such. Let us get into the story.
The media that I received 800,000 the day that the deceased was killed. and then I transferred 133,000 to Nekutle and Demandi. Once again, the state is relying on coincidence. I do not know anyone by the name of Spamandla Nwobo. The 803,000 rand was paid to me from a reputable company who I had done business with before. In fact, our business relationship goes back as early as 3 years back. Given the above, I recall that the investigations shall reveal that this was not a once-off payment as alleged. To give credence to my submission, I challenge the state to have regard to my bank statements. I reiterate that the above-mentioned payments were paid in respect of consulting work bulk by RB1, RB2, RB3, and RON.
The side eye he's giving his lawyer, bro.
In 2015, a very special book hit the shelves. The book was written by seasoned journalist Dudu Busani Dube. In this book, she introduces the readers to the Zulu brothers. These Zulu brothers are from KwaZulu-Natal. They are feared, they are dangerous, they are ruthless. They are in the taxi business, and their business interest also involves a lot of crime. The Zulu brothers then grow their business and they venture into the trucking business.
Of course,
they then rule the business world through capturing a few police officers here and there. They buy the law here and there, and they continue to be notorious. At the end of the book, the author, Dudu, drops a disclaimer. She says the Zulu brothers might or might not exist. She says don't go looking for them, because there might be...
Hey, why am I going to go looking for them? Yo, they got money on their hands. They're going to take me out quickly, bro. If they did that to AKA, what are they going to do to me, bro? What?
In real life. The name of the book is Hlomo the Wife. It was then adapted into a record-breaking hit TV series on Showmax called The Wife. Now we all know the Zulu brothers don't exist. But picture this. A very similar family, the Gcaba Brothers. Now they do exist.
Hey, you see, these guys living nice are always up to no good. Hopping out the helicopter.
Money is the harbinger of respect. Money does not modulate when put into effect.
V-class
In
villain.
fact, when money
Rory's.
speaks, humanity would listen. When money sings, humanity does.
These guys remind me of Mr. King of the Sky. Do you know that taxi boss, King of the Sky? That's nice, boy. Life is good. We are cruising nicely. Come on, man. We need the Rory too.
If your immediate thought after seeing these videos is what a bunch of wealthy people,
I just got a
you
great
are
idea.
correct. The Gcaba brothers are very wealthy, and you and I would probably not even know about them if it wasn't for social media, because they are very private.
You see, social media is the downfall of everybody, bro. Social media is the downfall of everybody, especially people into criminal activity, bro. Because they post their lavish life, and then everyone's like, but then how you getting all this money though? And then we start investigating, and then we realize, oh, I wanna get much.
It is said that they are one of a few billionaire families in KwaZulu-Natal, and just like the Zulu brothers, they are in the taxi business. And it is said that if the Gcaba brothers could one day decide that they want to take all their taxis to the car wash at the same time, not only will the car wash have to close down for a whole week or a couple of weeks in order to wash all their taxis, but the country, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, and parts of Western Cape, might be on a standstill for the whole week.
Ha!
Because no commuters will operate for the time.
Nah, these guys have motion. Why they want AKA gone, bro? I mean, what did... Okay, well, Hey, let's carry on.
Who they use.
We know
now,
why.
with all their wealth and power, what do the Gcaba brothers have to do with AKA's murder?
Exactly.
What could they possibly want from one of the country's most popular rappers? And why would so much money come from a bank account linked to one of them to an Inkabi who allegedly killed AKA? Let's backtrack. Who are the Gcaba brothers? The Gcaba family is said to be from Nkandla. They have multiple homes in different parts of KwaZulu-Natal, and their journey began in the 1970s when their father, Simon Mkhulekwa Gcaba, established a taxi business in Umlazi Township. He is the founder of the Sonke Long Distance Taxi Association. Simon owned several businesses in Umlazi Township, including Sonke and Mama's Bakery. He had 5 wives and multiple children with his wives, and the number of his children was never publicly confirmed. The names of some of the family members of the Gcaba brothers that are known publicly include Mandla, Spamandla Moses.
You know these guys be having like 500 kids.
Mfundo, Sthembiso, Nkosikhona, Mpilo, Wandile, Thembinkosi, Kanye, Juqaba, Xolisi, Nana, Junior, and Tembela. And these do not include the female siblings that they have. We need to also note that because the Gcaba brothers are from different mothers, they don't call each other half-brothers. They are brothers, and so are their kids. They don't necessarily call each other cousins as well. Their sisters and their wives are completely private, with the exception of their older sister, Sbongile, whose name is known because she currently runs their father's bakery, Mama's Bakery in Umlazi. So back to Simon. He was said to be a very good businessman. His leadership and public relations skills helped him build a thriving transportation business despite the systematic challenges of apartheid-era South Africa at the time. His rise was said to be bloody as well.
One thing I've realized, if you can capitalize on poverty, you can make so much money. And that's such a sick truth because you see it around everywhere, bro. A lot of these people who deal with or who build systems to help the needy, they are so rich, bro. They are so rich, bro. But the system itself is a broken system.
Time, there were multiple high-profile taxi business assassinations in the country. In February 1996, in a brazen suspected taxi violence hit, Simon was assassinated. But that was not the end of the Gcaba brothers. It was only the beginning. So according to some social media reports, at this time, a Durban-based businessman, Moses Tembe, allegedly took the Gcaba brothers under his wing after their father's passing. So he reportedly guided them and helped them continue with their father's business. Again, this is highly on alleged basis. So then the brothers continue with their business. The eldest brothers, Mandla and Spamandla Moses, led the family business. They grew it into multiple taxis. They also ventured into the trucking business, and they bought buses, which at this point are contracted to provide student transport services to Mangosuthu University of Technology. Their taxi business grew to about 500 taxis all over the country, including the Western Cape and Gauteng. Their bus business also grew into the Northwest, where they own the Bojanala bus services. They also ventured into agriculture, construction, and to property investments. They own multiple properties, and they also have a marketing company that has exclusive rights to distribute technology that allows spectators attending sporting events to hear every word that is spoken on the field. So you can imagine how wealthy this family is. The family has the Gcaba brothers as a family business, the Gcaba Brothers Consortium, and that is their family name. It is also simply their logo. They also have lucrative businesses individually. Their children are also in the taxi business, with most of them being gifted multiple taxis at a time as their coming-of-age gifts. The Gcaba brothers' rise was not without controversy. Remember I said shortly after their father Simon was assassinated, the brothers took over the family business? Not only that, they took over everything, including the taxi rivalry, the violence, the taxi routes beef, and blood continued to spill on their rise.
Yeah, taxi business is like... It's like gang wars, bro. Taxis, hey, boy, that's one thing. You can make a lot of money, but to get to the top, you're going to lose a lot.
Salo leyo mpi kaGcaba eyayisuke ngo96 senze peace wayekhona uNdebele nabanye abaholisa idriver yaphela akhona into enye sayenza so understand kodwa nje kunale fear nje ukuthi athi nje umuntu azassociate uthi ungakwaGcaba no uyazi omunye umuntu mayese banje utholta kuyena akwaGcaba asimazi nokuba akaziwa nokwazi ngisho ingane zethu ayibazi.
In the same year after their father was killed, Mandla was shot 4 times in October of that year during a taxi.
And that's how you go out as a taxi guy. Like, you're always getting gunned down, bro. No matter what. Like a taxi boss, there's always a taxi boss funeral, bro.
The same year after their father was killed, Mandla was shot 4 times in October of that year during a taxi violence hit. He survived. And then the following year, in 1998, his brother Spamandla Moses was shot multiple times outside their business, Mama's Bakery in Umlazi. Spamandla was killed in that shooting. This was the beginning of a messy bloodbath. After Spamandla was killed, 6 men were arrested for his murder. On June 21, 1998, the men were appearing in court. During lunch, chaos erupted. A police officer, Sergeant Greg Van Zyl, and his partner Soli Shozi were on their way to Durban International Airport when they saw a group of 5 heavily armed men walking across Victoria Embankment carrying AK-47 rifles. The policemen were armed only with a handgun. The police officers challenged the men and a bloody gunfire erupted. Sergeant Greg and 2 bystanders, one who was an 80-year-old woman, were killed in the gun exchange. The men managed to escape, but the police arrested 2 of them and injured 1. The 2 who escaped fled in a red BMW M5. The police began investigating.
We see who likes red BMWs. We see who likes red BMWs, huh?
They found a speed camera photograph of the getaway car, the BMW M5, which clearly showed the driver. And the driver was none other than Sbu Wiseman Mbisani. You probably know him as the ex-husband of businesswoman and reality TV star Shaun Mbisani, better known as Mam Kizi. Sbu was arrested. He allegedly confessed to the murder conspiracy, but he was not charged. You see, Sbu was a metro cop at the time.
Hey, this story runs deep, bro. Yo, True Crime Julia, you're uncovering things I didn't cover. No way.
He told the police that he will tell them everything in exchange for possible immunity from prosecution. In his statement, Sbu said he was hired by Mandla Gcaba. He said the entire group of Inkabi were hired by Mandla. They were hired to go and attack the suspects who were appearing in court to avenge his brother Moses' death. Sbu confessed to having prior knowledge of the attack and said he drove the 2 escaping Inkabis to Mandla's house. Mandla and 3 others were charged with the murder of Sergeant Greg and the 2 bystanders. The case relied heavily on Sbu's confession and him testifying against Mandla. But Sbu never testified. He vanished shortly after the trial began. Judge Alan Howard postponed the trial for 4 months to allow detectives to locate him, but he could not be found. So with no star prosecution witness, the High Court acquitted Mandla and the Inkabis. Sbu then appeared at work a week later saying he was kidnapped. The matter was never followed up and the case just vanished. At this time, taxi violence was rife. There were fights for routes and people were getting killed left, right and center, including innocent people. There was a lot of money to be made here. So this was becoming a problem. And then in 2001, a commission investigating taxi violence, notably in KwaZulu-Natal, led by retired Judge Gerald Alexander, was established. This commission reported on mafia-style management and corruption in the taxi industry. According to an Inkabi who testified at the commission, he said in the taxi business, there's something called the protection team. This is a nice way of calling Inkabi. So they are called the protection team. He said the team is paid around 100,000 to 1 million rand to assassinate rivals. He says the price depends on who the hit is on. He says money collected from taxi operators is used to pay the protection team. These are people who are from the funds that taxi operators collect and supply with arms for hits.
I won't lie, this all started to make too much sense.
He said at the time, every taxi owner had a protection team. He said taxi owners pay at least 10,000 rand to join an association, and there's even money paid on a daily basis to rank managers. Sometimes between 20,000 rand and 30,000 rand is collected in a day, and the rank manager gets 1,000 rand. Anyone who questions what all taxi bosses do with the money gets shot. When asked by a commissioner if he knows how much is paid for a hit on a person, he said anything between 100,000 rand and 1 million rand. As mentioned, this depends on the prominence of the person. Please note this part. You might have to connect the dots later.
Hey bro, the dots are connecting already. Trust me, the dots have been connecting. Julia?
September 2015, the Brook Street minibus taxi rank in Durban became the scene of one of the city's most shocking outbreaks of taxi-related violence. In the early hours of the morning, as commuters began arriving for work, tensions between rival taxi associations reached a breaking point. The associations are the Zamaguhle Taxi Association and the Sonke Taxi Association. Sonke would be the Gcaba Brothers Taxi Association. So the two have been in a dispute over the route between Port Shepstone and the Brook Street taxi rank in Durban near the Berea Road station for years. On that day, gunshots rang out across the rank, sending people for cover as bullets tore through the normally crowded transport hub. When the shooting stopped, 3 people were dead. Others were injured. The dead people included a security guard who was not even using the taxis. He had just knocked off his shift and was passing by the taxi rank to go to the train station. Several others were injured, as I mentioned. Among the victims were individuals who had nothing to do with the dispute.
Yo, that's why I pray every day, bro. You never know when it's gonna be your time. Sometimes you're just casually walking, bah, 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 gone. Hey, you wake up in heaven. God, what happened, bro? I was just gonna get a pie, bro, at the store, dog. I was just counting my coins for the pie, dog. My life is gone. Yeah.
40 people caught in the crossfire. Police sealed off the area and then they launched a massive investigation. And then they arrested 12 people who were allegedly members of the Sonke Taxi Association protection team. And one of the Gcaba brothers, Mfundo, was also arrested. The 12 faced 3 charges of murder, 2 of attempted murder, and a charge of public violence. However, the prosecution later withdrew the case against Mfundo and the protection team before it even went to a full trial. The state cited problems such as inconsistencies in ballistic evidence and failure to trace key witnesses, which led to the charges being dropped and the accused effectively escaping conviction. Another Gcaba brother would dominate headlines in March 2021. Stembiso Gcaba, who was 47 years old at the time, was arrested in an intelligence-driven operation conducted by the Durban Central District Task Team. He was charged with fraud, theft, and being in possession of stolen property after he was caught red-handed while allegedly withdrawing cash using different SASSA cards at an ATM in the CBD. He was caught with 70 SASSA cards. He had allegedly made 133 cash withdrawals on the day, withdrawing 1,800 each time. This amounted to 237,400 rand. So he made these withdrawals over a period of 6 hours in different ATMs in the CBD. He was driving in an exclusive Mercedes-Benz AMG,
a black boy, a black series,
GT63S, valued at 3.4 million rand. The car was yet to be registered with license plates when the police seized it.
And it's always when you see these cars, you're thinking, damn, what does that guy do? How did he get this? Oh, God, this guy's at the ATM in CBD all day. Butler. Take out 1,800. Butler. Take out. Butler. Let's go to beds. Come to work.
Police went to his posh home in Mhlanga instead, where they confiscated items for investigation. However, the case went cold. This until this week on Friday, January 16, 2026, when the NDPP secured a forfeiture order for the money that was seized from him to be kept by the state. His car was returned to him though. And there is a trend here. The Gcaba brothers seem untouchable.
What?
There are serious cases around them and they all just vanish. Nothing really happens. There are also reports that the Gcaba brothers seem so untouchable because they are nephews of former President Jacob Zuma. The relationship to Jacob Zuma was also confirmed by them, this after they were accused of causing public unrests. In July 2021, South Africa experienced widespread protests and looting that quickly escalated into violent unrests.
How are these guys connected to like such historic events, bro? Like everything that happened that was big, they were there, boy.
Marilyn, KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng provinces. The unrest began after Jacob Zuma was imprisoned on 29 June 2021 for contempt of court, having failed to appear before a commission investigating corruption. The Gcaba brothers were then accused of fueling these protests and supplying resources to protesters. However, they denied this.
Coming back to the question yakho buyibuzile. Ngikhuluma nje njengomandla ngoba sika consult njengomndeni. Ngiyacanga abantu abamndeni abafila nje bangisho. Nathi asijabule ngesinqumo esathe eConstitutional Court against Msholozi, angibusho nje ngoba we feel ukuthi kwakufuneka anikezwe a fair chance ye trial like any person. Okufuneka mayezogwetshwa detain kulandela iprocess egcwele. Mina nginane question nje ukuthi kwakuyoqayelana indaba contempt of court iyoqala eConstitutional Court into eqala eMagistrate Court ngokujwayelekile.
Yeah.
Angiwazi umthetho kodwa ngiyengibona nje.
Yeah.
Noma athiwa ubizela ithikithi lemonto noma yini nje ziningi izinto ama contempt of court athale khona inqwabi inhlabathi every day. Ezeka every day to everyone. Asikaze sizokuthiwa lo muntu useyathathwa nje eConstitutional Court ngoba kune contempt of court. Asikaze sikubona. Siyaqala nje ukubona ngomsholozi. So kangikwazi ke umqamba amanga ngihlala ngithi kumnandi. Hayi. Umsholozi yayime lento na ka treat nje njengabantu bonke. Naye ubaba umzali emndenini wakhe. Let alone ukuthi uyi freedom fighter and is a former president of this country. And is a very, very distinguished leader. Has done a lot about where he deserve naye I respect.
Yeah.
Ne dignity nje ne fairness, you understand? Ngoba egcineni mhlambe into akhala ngayo nami nje ngathi ngikhala ngayo fairness ukuthi ake sibone umthetho ufair, umthetho akubalance, umthetho akungabe umthetho osuit abathile ngabasuit abathile. So ke nje into engayisho eshiwo yimi ke leyo.
Now let's go back to February 2023.
Rob,
Okay.
I need to listen. Make it a point.
For textures.
Yeah.
You hear textures.
Because I heard this other joint. I don't know if it was Makassar,
Yeah.
but I heard it on Y. You were using some. Your cadences are like all over the place, and you also use interesting like sonics as well to your voice. It's like it's like auto tune, but you've got like a deep.
Yeah.
Is that the joint?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it is that track. Yeah.
Hey, you see, this is why we need our goats back. Because our goats used to uplift the game. They used to know the real talented brews and bring them up. Now it's just TikTokers. Tickety-tock.
Why? Time.
Yeah. It was actually out even before.
We have covered the story of AKA's passing multiple times here. So just a recap, award-winning rapper AKA was dating Anele Tembe. In fact, they were engaged. He had paid lobola for her in 2021. Anele Tembe is a young chief. She is a model and she is Moses Tembe's daughter. Remember the businessman that allegedly took the Gcaba Brothers under his wing after their father was killed in 1996? Yes. Anele is his daughter. Moses Tembe is filthy rich. This man is so rich. In June 2025, Sizekaya Holdings, a consortium chaired by him, including businessman Sandile Zungu, was awarded the contract to operate South Africa's 4th national lottery and sports pools license. This contract is extremely lucrative, covering about 8 years of lottery operations.
That's another one. Lottery. Lotteries target the people mostly in poverty. And the people who own the lottery and who run that shit, rich as hell. It's crazy.
Billions of rands. This is Anele Tembe's father. It's AKA's father-in-law. Sadly, on 11 April 2021, Anele fell from the 10th floor of the Pepper Club Hotel in Cape Town, and she died from her injuries. She was only 22 years old. At the time of her passing, she was with AKA inside the hotel, and no one really believed that Anele fell. In fact, at the ad hoc committee last year, former Minister of the Police, Cele, said the police believe that Anele was murdered.
And now they're both gone, bro. This is like a Romeo and Juliet. Didn't even AK, what's that song where he says? I think it's with OK Malum Cool Cats. Where it says something Romeo and Juliet, drinking out the bottle like we Romeo. Okay, yeah, whatever.
I'm sure you'll hear one day that there is an inquest. There is an inquest in the death of Moses Tembe's daughter. Honorable member, police did the investigation and they believed that that daughter was murdered. They believed. They went time and again to the prosecutor for the things to be enrolled. They would say, go back, dot the I's and cross the T's. Until they said, if you can't do it, give us a certificate. I went to the president personally. I said, Mr. President, your Minister of Police is going to do something funny. Is going to support the private prosecution. And the prosecutor refused to give certificate. So he can't prosecute, he can't give certificate. So you're stuck in the middle. But now I know that inquest, the magistrate that is there now is asking the question, why this thing was not enrolled, because it's an obvious case. You should ask the prosecutor that did not enroll it in this Western Cape.
But at the time, AKA says she jumped. This made people very angry. He was then threatened to never set foot in KwaZulu-Natal by all means and for any reason. On February 10, 2023, just 2 years later, at night, in the upscale Durban North suburb, AKA did set foot in the KZN for a gig. He documented
Worst mistake ever.
the entire trip on Instagram.
Worst mistake ever. One thing I know, don't test the Zulus, boy. That's one. If they tell you, do not do this, don't do it, bruv. Just don't do it, bruv. Unless, if you love your life, don't do it. If you don't love your life, okay, cool, sharp.
After
The Last
having
Supper.
dinner at Wish Restaurant on Florida Road with his friends, they were ambushed by Inkabi. According to reports and CCTV footage, the attackers fired multiple rounds, killing the rapper instantly. His friend, businessman, and former manager Tebelo Tipsumudzweni was also shot. They died at the scene. Now, according to the state, the very next day,
crazy,
one of the
bro.
Inkabisms were Themba Kwabeni, called a Gcaba Brother, Mfundo Gcaba. Remember that brother was allegedly involved in the shooting at Brook Taxi Rank, along with the alleged protection team? Yes, that brother. After the call, an amount of 803,455 rand was deposited into Mzue Themba's business account from Fundo's business account. Now, the family says the money was allegedly for a business deal, but the state is not having it. They allege that the money was the price tag for AKA's life. They say Debs was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. He was never the target. They say the Inkabis followed AKA from the moment he set foot at the King Shaka International Airport in KwaZulu-Natal.
And it's funny how things happen because Tibbs wasn't even with AKA. And it's crazy because these guys go way back, bro. Tibbs and AKA started that shit together, bro. Tibbs was his manager from time. Throughout those first few years, bro. And they hadn't seen each other in so long. They hadn't seen each other in ages. And they met that night. That night. Just in those few seconds or those last few minutes of AK's life is when they saw each other. They're like, oh, dude, Tibbs, you here? Gandhi, that was the last time. Hey, that was some bad boys for life type shit. We ride together, we die together. Even though we've been separated for so long, bro. When we connect, we vying together even, bruh. We had to vie together, bruh. Hey, that's just crazy, man. Serendipity. I don't know if that's the word, but anyway.
To the very last moment he was alive.
The Lula phone records of applicant 4 show that prior to the money being deposited, a call is made by him to a number linked to Mr. Sydney Mfunda Gcaba. Shortly after this call, an amount of 803,455 rand is transferred to the bank account of the applicant. The bank statements are attached to in his affidavit, but not showing the period of these transactions. The money was transferred from the bank account of the company, Bright Circle Pty Ltd. According to the company records, Mr. Sydney Mfunda Gcaba is the sole director of this company. When the money was transferred, a reference was used as consult.
There was no security.
This, we are of the view, was done to disguise the nature of the funds, as same is viewed to be payment for the shooting. My team and I are currently investigating the source of this and any other funds that may have been used for the planning and execution of these offenses.
As it stands, the case is still on. It will be back in court on March 4. This is where the Inkabis who are now held at Ebongweni Maximum Prison are expected to appear in court. As far as we know, the Gcaba brothers say the police have not called Mfundo in to question him about the money. And they say he's innocent. He has nothing to hide. And that would be the story of the Gcaba brothers. And as you might have figured by now, it would be impossible to fit the entire story into one video just like that. But that would be the story of who the Gcaba brothers are and their link to rapper AKA.
Okay, but what about the business deal? Why can't they give information as to what that business deal was exactly and what happened and what were the services rendered? Because they say, oh, no, it was just for a business deal. And they say, okay, the courts are saying, oh, we don't believe it. So what do you believe then? What do you actually believe? Tell us. Because yes, we know that you believe that was for AKA's whatever, his hit. But at the same time, we want to know, what do those guys say that the money was for exactly? Don't just say business deal. We want to know. Tell us. That's what I'm saying. That's one thing I want to know. They must tell us that. But anyway, it's your boy Dwayne on Blaze. Like, comment, and subscribe. R.I.P. to the Pepper Goat himself, bruv. The Pepper Goat General, if you know, you know. AKA Kiernan Forbes, man. Still can't believe it, dog. I just still can't believe. Yo, SA hip hop. Yo, it just shows we lost such powerhouses that now it's just not the same, man. There's not that grandioseness. You know what I mean, man? Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. RIP the GOAT, man. I'll catch you in the next one. It's your boy, Dway's on Blaze. Yes, sir. Love y'all, man.